the chosen ones. What I am going to say may surprise you, but it is the reality you need to hear. If you're seeing this right now, it's no coincidence. God sent you here for a reason, and something significant is going to change in your life. You are being asked to cease visiting churches because God has determined that it is no longer your place. Churches serve everyday people, but you, yes, you were picked. God loves you passionately, and He is moving you to the next level. You may have been betrayed, hated, or disappointed by people around you. People who remain trapped in the ways of the world. But understand that God does not support those who seek to drag you down. If you are still following the crowd, what distinguishes you from them? You don't have to be in a building to speak with God. You can communicate directly with Him at any time and from any location. Your spiritual path is not limited to any certain location. It's inside you, and you're going to encounter the holy in ways you never dreamed. Before we begin this life-changing lesson, take a minute to pause and complete 3 tasks. Hit the like button. Subscribe now to help us achieve 40,000. Subscribe for hours and post a comment with the number 99. This will increase the energy of the message and send a powerful signal to the cosmos. Remember, if you are genuinely selected, you will remain till the end. Let's get to it. If you've ever felt like you didn't quite fit in a church, there's a reason for that. Because you don't. You've been chosen to take a new road, one that does not need you to connect with God within the walls of a typical church. You are unique, and so is your spiritual path. God has prepared you for something remarkable. This new passage does not require any barriers to contain it. The world may look at you with uncertainty or even disgust, wondering why you no longer feel compelled to attend church. But the fact is that you have been called to something far deeper and more intimate than the church's rituals and routines can provide. A speech or a pew does not determine your connection to God. It is about the profound, unbreakable tie you have with Him in the silence of your heart. This is not a rejection of the church itself. Rather, it is an invitation to engage in a more genuine and direct connection with the divine. The church is a place for individuals who still require structure, a sense of belonging, or a learning environment. But God has called you, the chosen one, to follow a different route, one in which your spiritual journey is highly personal and holy. Have you ever questioned why your spiritual experience is so unique from those around you? Why, despite attending church, did you feel disconnected or searching for something more? The solution is straightforward. You've been picked to travel a path that is unique to you. This is a call to move beyond the familiar and into direct communication with God, without the necessity for religious organizations. God's purpose for you extends beyond the typical road of attending church and following rituals. He has selected you to encounter Him in an intimate setting, free of the limits of human-made buildings. This is your opportunity to develop a relationship with God on your own terms, one that is based on genuineness and direct contact, not ritual. Embrace this route with confidence and enthusiasm. You may not know where it will go, but you can be confident that it will lead to a deeper, more profound connection with God. You have been called to a greater purpose that does not require the church to mediate your relationship with the divine. The church provides a function for many people by giving a sense of community and structure for individuals who are still figuring out their lives. But as a chosen one, you are called to something more than what the typical church experience can provide. Churches are designed just for the selected, those who still seek to belong and connect. But God has provided you with a direct road to Him that does not need rituals or institutions. While others seek refuge and order behind the walls of a church, you are being urged to embrace your divine identity and live out your religion in a truly personal and honest manner. You are chosen for a greater purpose, which cannot be accomplished inside the constraints of a structure. Being picked is not indicative of excellence. It is an indication of God's faith in you. He has selected you for something exceptional that demands independence from religious systems. As you take this new road, know that it has been one of increased closeness, spiritual freedom, and divine purpose for a long time. Church has been a place where people come to worship, connect with God, and seek instruction. But now for you, the chosen one, the church is no longer the main venue of worship. God has welcomed you to a more intimate, personal connection with Him, one that does not require rituals, preaching, or structures. Your connection with God can take place anywhere and at any moment, without the necessity for middlemen. When you stop relying on the church to discover God, you gain spiritual independence. Traditional institutions and procedures that previously seemed important are now perceived as distractions. You may talk to God in the quiet of your own heart, hear His voice in the silence of your spirit, and feel His love and guidance in ways that go beyond the confines of any institution. This is a powerful shift. It enables you to live a life in which every moment is a prayer and every breath is a dialogue with the divine. No longer restricted by the confines of a church, you are free to pursue your purpose to the fullest extent of your abilities, guided by God. What if I told you that God Himself has decided it is time for you to cease attending church? This is not a call to renounce religion or your relationship with God. It's an invitation to experience something considerably more powerful. The moment has come for you to abandon the old ways of doing things in favor of a new, deeper, and more true connection with the divine church, which has evolved into a place for the selected. Those who still require structure, community, and traditions. However, God has selected a new road for you, one in which your connection with Him is direct, intimate, and free of traditional limits. You no longer need to attend church to feel connected to God. In fact, He has called you away from it so that you might encounter Him in a way that is entirely unique to you. This is a time of spiritual release. Let go of the past and accept the freedom that comes from being chosen. Walk confidently knowing that God loves you and has equipped you to pursue a life that represents your genuine divine calling. It's time to pursue a greater purpose, and God is with you every step of the way. It's never easy to let go of something familiar, especially one as firmly embedded as church. But what if letting go is the key to establishing a deeper, more true connection with God? When you cease relying on the church for spiritual growth, you give yourself the opportunity to experience God directly. This independence may seem unnerving at first. You may wonder what your spiritual life would be like without the weekly routines and rituals of church attendance. However, it is actually an invitation to live a truly true life, one in which your connection to God is founded not on structure, but on a profound personal relationship with Him. Being selected implies that you have the ability to pursue your spiritual calling without relying on others to guide or verify your experiences. God is your guide, and He is inviting you to live a life of more freedom, purpose, and connection. Embrace the adventure ahead with confidence and faith, knowing that you are precisely where you should be. The fact is that not everyone is called to follow the path of the chosen. Those who continue to seek a relationship with God through external structures attend church because they need it. They seek God via rituals, community, and church instruction. But as the chosen one, you no longer require these external help. You are invited to a deeper, more personal connection with God, one that goes beyond structures and rituals. Your link to the divine is personal, immediate, and strong. While others may continue to seek God through the church, you have been invited into a place of spiritual freedom where you can speak with Him in your own manner, without the need for intermediaries. This does not imply that the church is unsuitable for others. It merely indicates that your spiritual journey is unique to you. You are not constrained by the same needs as people who still look to the church for direction. You've been picked to follow a new road, one that goes straight to God, and He is there for you every step of the way. You may have grown up thinking that your relationship with God was only genuine in a religious context, that His presence was limited to a building or a weekly service. What if the reality is even more beautiful? God knows you intimately, beyond the confines of any church. Your connection with Him is more than just a Sunday morning or a series of routines. It is a dynamic, breathing link that occurs in all aspects of your life. God's love for you is unwavering and profoundly intimate. He understands your heart, troubles, dreams, and innermost ambitions. This is why attending church is no longer required for you to connect with Him. The divine is already inside you, always guiding, loving, and enabling you to follow your own path. Distance and ritual do not separate you from God. You're one with Him. This revelation may be quite liberating, since it demonstrates that your spiritual journey does not require external confirmation. You are already whole, selected, and passionately loved. As you continue to follow the road God has laid out for you, you may face opposition from others who prefer the usual route. Some others may mock you or criticize your decisions, misinterpreting the strength of your connection to God. But these people are not your adversaries. They are merely walking their own path. Many of them could even betray you, dismissing your spiritual freedom as a sign of weakness or misunderstanding. However, the treachery is not a curse. It's a blessing. It is an indication that you are on a different road than everyone else and that you have been chosen for a greater purpose. These times of misunderstanding and rejection can be unpleasant, but they also present possibilities for growth. They educate you to trust your spiritual calling and stick to your faith. Regardless of others' perceptions, your journey is not for everyone. And that's okay. Some people may never understand, but it does not make your journey any less holy. You were picked to pursue this route because it will lead to increased spiritual depth, authenticity, and relationship with God. Trust that even in the face of betrayal, your calling is real, and your relationship with God will get you through for a long time. You may have sought validation through the church's rituals and structures, attending services, following the rules, and attempting to fit in, believing that these exterior measurements dictated your spiritual value. But now God is telling you to quit looking for affirmation from the church or others. You are already chosen, loved, and empowered to follow your destiny without the need for anyone's approval. The world will try to convince you that you require the church to define your religion and give your spiritual life shape and significance. However, the fact is that your religion does not require institutional validation. God has already validated you. You are His chosen one, and your value is independent of any other source. It's time to embrace and live your actual identity. Walk boldly, knowing that you have been selected for something big and that your connection with God is the most genuine and significant thing in your life. The consent of others is no longer required. When you are confident in God's love and approval, there will always be some who misinterpret or condemn your decision to leave the traditional church context. These people may nonetheless hold on to their own desire for order, ritual, and praise from others. They may see your path as a rejection of what they value, and they may even label you as misguided or lost. However, their answer does not reflect on you. It is a mirror of their personal journey. The reality is, these bigots and betrayers remain in the church because they require it. To feel confident in their beliefs, they require the comfort of familiarity as well as the approbation of others. But you, the chosen one, no longer require external confirmation. You've already discovered your security in God, so that's all you need. Your decision to quit the church is not an act of rebellion, but one of spiritual liberty. You are moving into your own strength, certain that God is with you and guiding you every step of the way. When you live in the reality of who you are and the divine calling that has already been put on your life, the views of others lose their weight. Many people thought that communicating with God required the use of a mediator, a priest, a preacher, a ritual. These intermediates were seen as the ones who could communicate with God on behalf of the congregation. But now you're being invited to a new reality, a world in which you no longer require someone to stand between you and God. Your relationship with the divine is immediate, intimate, and all-encompassing. This is the fundamental significance of being selected. You don't need a church, a preacher, or a set ritual to connect with God. Conversations with Him may take place anywhere, including your house, nature, and the solitude of your heart. Every moment becomes a chance to communicate with the divine, seek His direction, and experience His love. This adjustment in viewpoint is more than simply freeing. It's empowering. You no longer rely on external activities to feel closer to God. Your connection with Him is living, vital, and unbroken, and it lives inside you at all times. Believe in the strength of this direct connection and enjoy the freedom it provides. Leaving the church does not indicate a renunciation of religion. It is a brave step toward accepting the full extent of your spiritual calling. You are being asked to live a life that is true to yourself, unconstrained by the expectations or limits of others. Your spiritual journey is unique to you, and now is the moment to completely accept the road that God has laid out for you. The strength of your vocation is found not in rituals or outward activities, but in the connection you establish with God every day. When you leave the church, you create space for your individual spiritual path to blossom. This is a path of liberation, self-discovery, and profound connection to the divine. As you go on, remember that God is with you every step of the way. He has already provided you with all you require to fulfill your calling, and He is directing you toward a life that represents your actual purpose. Accept the strength of your divine calling and bravely face the destiny that God has planned for you. The church may have previously been the center of spiritual life, but it has evolved into something new. For many, it is a place of regularity and ritual, providing comfort but not necessarily fostering progress. However, the church no longer serves as a source of spiritual nutrition for you, the chosen one. You have been chosen for something far greater, a deeper, more true connection with God that transcends the confines of any edifice. This does not imply that the church is incorrect. It just indicates that your spiritual journey is unique. You have been picked for a greater mission, one that requires you to encounter God in a direct, intimate, and transformational manner. The traditions of the past no longer appeal to you since you have outgrown them. You are being drawn to something more powerful, something that lives inside you. Accept this modification. Recognize that you are being called to walk in the light of divine purpose, and believe that the path ahead will lead to greater spiritual growth and satisfaction. The chosen one's road is not simple, but it is beautiful. It is a route that necessitates bravery, faith, and confidence in God's direction. As you move away from the typical church experience, you are accepting a new way of life, one that is wholly dependent on God's will. This is not about renouncing faith, but rather about seeking a deeper, more true connection with God. You are on a road that is entirely your own, full of divine purpose and spiritual development. God is with you every step of the road, guiding you to destinations you never imagined imaginable. Believe in His plan for you. Walk boldly in the direction He is taking you, knowing that you have been selected for a greater reason. This is your path, one of sincerity, freedom, and an unwavering connection to the divine. When you leave the church, you do not forsake your religion. You are embracing a deeper, more profound connection with God. This significant decision demonstrates your yearning for a relationship with the supernatural that goes beyond simple rituals. It recognizes that you are already connected to God in ways that no institution can describe or contain. In the past, you may have depended on the church to mold your spirituality, but you've realized that your relationship with God is more valuable than any edifice. The holiness of your decision stems from your ability to believe that God is with you wherever you go. You are not lost without the framework of the church. You are found in the heart of who you are, selected and dearly loved by God. By stepping back, you restore your spiritual freedom. Your faith no longer needs to be defined by man-made limitations. Your connection with God is more deep and personal than any religious structure you build. This independence permits you to travel your path authentically, free of expectations and routines. As you enter a new chapter of your spiritual journey, trust that you are on a holy path. The divine is closer to you than ever before, and you have been chosen to have a deeper encounter with God. This independence is a blessing, demonstrating the power and depth of your connection with the Creator. Tradition plays an important role in many people's lives, providing comfort and regularity. However, for you, the chosen one, it has become a restriction. You have been asked to break away from established patterns and live in the divine flow, an ever-changing adventure that cannot be limited by outdated ways of thinking. Your spirit yearns for something bigger, more vibrant, and God invites you to participate in the depth of this transformation. Breaking away from tradition does not imply discarding the ideals you have acquired. It entails cultivating a more flexible and personal relationship with God. The divine isn't static. When you are in the divine flow, your relationship with God should not be compromised. You open yourself up to continual development, new discoveries, and the delight of encountering God in all aspects of your life. This freedom enables you to live in accordance with your larger purpose. You no longer have to follow the pathways given out by others. Instead, God's inner voice guides you with love and wisdom into each new chapter of your life. This relationship is dynamic, profoundly intimate, and designed to expand with each breath you take. As you welcome the flow, you'll be continuously in tune with the divine. Your spiritual life will no longer seem restricted or coerced. Instead, you will feel free to develop, express, and live your faith in ways that are true to you. You have been chosen to live a spiritually fluid life, and now is the time to trust the trip. You've sat through several sermons, listened to hymns, and performed the rites. However, deep down, you realize that the church's voice no longer speaks to your soul. It's as if the words being uttered aren't enough to satisfy your desire for God. This does not represent your religion. It's a sign that you're being drawn to something deeper and more meaningful. The church's silence does not indicate a failure on its part. It is merely a realization that the institution can no longer meet your needs. You have outgrown the rituals, and the teachings no longer speak to the depths of your soul's need. You are being asked to explore a new method of interacting with God that does not include preaching or planned services. This quiet might be unsettling at first since it feels as if something is missing. However, this is when the divine speaks the most loudly. God's voice is not limited to the confines of a church. It's inside you, all around you, waiting for you to listen and accept it as you let go of the church's doctrines. You will discover that God communicates with you in more intimate and powerful ways. You are asked to seek Him beyond convention and to conduct your life in direct reflection of your relationship with the divine. The church's stillness is not an absence, but rather a lovely opportunity for you to hear God's voice in your own life. The path you are on is not the one most people choose. It's a journey that demands bravery, faith, and trust. It is the less frequented way since it is unknown, unorganized, and sometimes misinterpreted by people who take the standard route. But this is your trip, the one God has planned for you. And it is full of spiritual wealth and blessings that can only be realized by walking through it. The chosen one's road is frequently lonely, not because they are actually alone, but because the rest of the world does not comprehend their calling. You may face opposition, doubt, and even scorn, but none of this matters when you are confident that God is with you. His love is your guiding light. And it is this divine connection that keeps you going even when everything else appears to be going in the wrong way. The world may seek comfort and familiarity, but you are supposed to embrace the discomfort of progress. This road will stretch you, challenge you, and help you grow into the person God has always intended you to be. You were never intended to follow the crowd. You were created to blaze a route that represents your distinct mission and divine purpose. Trust that each step you take on this path takes you closer to the fulfillment of your divine purpose. The advantages of taking the road less traveled are plentiful, but they need a heart willing to trust, let go of expectations, and truly enjoy the life that God has created just for you. Something within you is causing an inner stirring, a deep knowledge, a sensation that your spiritual existence is beckoning you to something greater. You've realized for a time that your life is changing, and you're being encouraged to participate in something more deep than the usual church experience. This awakening is God's call to live a more honest, purposeful, and direct relationship with the divine. Spiritual awakening is frequently accompanied with a sense of separation from the old traditions as you become more aware of your inner calling. You will discover that the church's ceremonies and doctrines no longer correspond to the path God has called you to take. This does not constitute a rejection of God's word. It is the revelation that God's word is alive within you and ready to be revealed in your daily life. This awakening isn't a goal. It is a trip. It will challenge, inspire, and help you discover the truth about who you are as a chosen one. You will learn to practice your religion in ways that are highly personal and entirely consistent with God's particular calling on your life. Embrace the awakening with open arms. Trust that God is bringing you to a deeper relationship with Him, one that goes beyond tradition and ceremony. You are being asked to experience Him in the totality of your own being, and this trip will be unlike any other you have ever taken. For the chosen one, true freedom emerges when we break free from the constraints of tradition, ceremony, and the acceptance of others. Living a truly freedom-filled existence entails living in the Spirit and allowing God's presence to lead you at all times. It is a life free from external expectations or structures. A life in which you are free to pursue your spiritual purpose in the most honest way. True freedom does not mean doing anything you want. It is about living in harmony with your ultimate purpose. When you walk in the Spirit, you allow God to guide you toward what is best for your soul. Growth. There are no bounds to your spiritual path or the manner in which you can connect with the divine. This independence is liberating. It enables you to let go of the weight of external expectations and welcome the divine direction that comes from inside. You no longer need to look outside yourself for affirmation or guidance. Everything you need is already inside you, waiting to be explored and experienced when you accept this freedom. Believe that God is guiding every move you take. You are on a road that is distinctively yours, and it is one of genuine spiritual liberty. There are no fences or obstacles. Only the open path leads to the totality of God's love and purpose for your life. You are not distinct from the divine. You're one with it. This truth is frequently buried behind layers of uncertainty, fear, and indoctrination of the world. But when you awaken, you'll start to comprehend, and God's presence resides inside you, surrounding and guiding you at all times. Your actual calling is to live from this position of divine connection, to be mindful of God's love and direction in everything you do. This is the core of your spiritual awakening, recognizing that you are more than just a follower of God's teachings. You mirror His heavenly essence. You were formed in His image, and your life is intended to reflect the love, knowledge, and power that He has put inside you. When you start living from this understanding, everything changes. Living from the divine inside you necessitates bravery and faith. It entails letting go of the desire for external affirmation in order to embrace your own self. You are created to be a living embodiment of God's love, power, and purpose. This is your calling, and as you awaken, you will be able to live more completely in this divine reality. Trust that you are on the correct track when you unite with the divine presence inside. You will experience more calm, clarity, and contentment than you ever dreamed. You are supposed to experience the totality of God's love, and it all begins with long-term acceptance of the divine inside you. Church walls may have felt like the limit of your spiritual experience, but now, God is asking you to live outside those borders, both physically and metaphorically. You are asked to encounter God not in a structure, but in the world around you. Your religion is designed to be experienced in every moment of your life, not only at one time or location. Living beyond the walls implies you don't have to conform to a certain framework to feel near to God. You are already profoundly connected to Him, and this relationship extends beyond the confines of any religion. Your religion is living, active, and permeates every element of your life, from your job to your relationships to how you perceive the world. The exhortation to live beyond the walls is a call to accept the world as spiritual. God is with you in the streets, in the mountains, at home, and in the hearts of people you love. Your spiritual growth is not restricted to church attendance. It is about being in continual connection with the divine wherever you are. Accept this call with open arms. Trust that God is directing you to live out your religion truthfully, beyond the walls, in a manner that shows the genuine freedom and strength of your relationship with Him. Religious shackles may be hefty, with high expectations, ceremonies, and the ongoing desire to compare one's beliefs to that of others. However, once you leave the church and accept your divine calling, you will break free from these bonds. You are releasing yourself from the urge to comply and entering a life of spiritual freedom in which God is your sole guide. This freedom does not entail rejecting God. It is about developing a more honest connection with Him. When you no longer feel compelled to follow religious norms, you open yourself up to a more authentic expression of faith, free of tradition and entirely connected with your genuine self.